Hey all you sugar boogers out there, we're back with another story time with Camilla, and I've got the Velveteen rabbit this week, and of course at the end of this video I'm going to draw out the names to see who's going to get the book from last week, which was the Pokey Little Puppy. So this book's kind of long, so I'm going to try to read it fast. But I got a surprise too at the end of this video. So here we go. There was once a Velveteen rabbit, and in the beginning he was really splendid. He was fat and bunchy. His coat was brown and white, and his ears were lined with pink satin. On Christmas morning he sat wedged in the top of the boy's stocking, with a sprig of holly between his paws. For at least 2 hours the boy loved him, and then the Velveteen rabbit was forgotten. For a long time the Velveteen rabbit lived in the toy cupboard in the nursery. He was naturally shy, and some of the more expensive toys snubbed him. The mechanical toys were very superior and pretended they were real. Even the jointed wooden lion put on airs. Well, that's just being mean to him, wasn't they? Only the skin horse was kind to the Velveteen rabbit. The skin horse was very wise and had lived longer in the nursery than any other toys. He knew that nursery magic is very strange and wonderful. "What is real?" the rabbit asked the horse one day. "Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and stick out handle?" "Real isn't how you are made," said the horse. "It's a thing that happens to you." "It's a thing that happens to you? It takes a long, long time. That's why it doesn't happen to toys that break easily, or who have sharp edges, or have to be carefully kept. When a child really loves you, then you become real." "I suppose you are real?" asked the rabbit. The horse smiled. "The boy's uncle made me real many years ago," he said, "and once you are real, you can't become unreal again." The rabbit sighed. He thought it would be a long time before this magic thing called real happened to him. One evening the boy couldn't find the toy dog that always slept with him, so Nana gave him the Velveteen rabbit instead. That night, for many nights after, the Velveteen rabbit slept in the boy's bed. The boy made nice tunnels for him under the bedclothes. The boy said they were like the burrows the real rabbits lived in, and when the boy dropped off to sleep, the rabbit would snuggle down under the boy's warm little chin and dream. And so time went on. The little rabbit was so happy that he never noticed how his beautiful velveteen fur was getting shabbier, and his tail was becoming unsewn, and all the pink was rubbing off his nose where the boy kissed him. When spring came, the rabbit had hay rides in the wheelbarrow, picnics in the grass, and fairy huts built just for him under the raspberry bush. And once when the rabbit was left out on the lawn, Nana had to look for him because the boy couldn't sleep unless he was there. "Fancy all that fuss for a toy," said Nana. The boy sat up in bed. "He isn't a toy," he said. "He's real." When the little rabbit heard that, he was happy, for he knew he was a toy no longer. He was real. The boy himself had said so. One summer evening, the rabbit saw two strange beings creep out of the woods. They were rabbits like himself, but quite furry and brand new. They must have been very well made, for their seams didn't show, and they changed shape when they moved. "Why don't you get up and play with us?" one of them asked. "I don't feel like it," said the Velveteen Rabbit. "Can you hop on your hind legs?" asked the other furry rabbit. "I don't want to," answered the Velveteen Rabbit. One of the rabbits came up very close and sniffed. "He hasn't got any hind legs," the furry rabbit called out, "and he doesn't smell right. He isn't real." "I am real," said the little rabbit. "The boy said so." But just then there was a sound of footsteps. With a stamp of feet and a flash of white, the two strange rabbits disappeared. For a long time the little rabbit sat very still, hoping the two rabbits would come back to play with him. But they never returned. Then one day the boy grew ill. His face grew flushed. He talked in his sleep, and his little body was so hot that it burned the rabbit when he held him. It was a long, weary time, for the boy was too ill to play. But that little rabbit snuggled down patiently and looked forward to the time when they would play in the garden in the woods like they used to. At last the fever turned, and the boy got better. The doctor ordered that all the books and toys that the boy had played with be burned. So the little rabbit was put into a sack and carried out to the garden. Of what use was it to be loved and become real if it all ended like this? He thought, and a real tear, trickled down his shabby velvet nose and fell to the ground. And then a strange thing happened. For where the tear had fallen, a flower grew out of the ground. And out of the flower stepped a fairy. "Little rabbit, don't you know who I am?" she asked. "I'm the nursery magic fairy," she said. "I take care of all the old playthings that children have loved and turned them into real." "Wasn't I real before?" asked the little rabbit. "You were real to the boy," the fairy said, "because he loved you. Now you shall be real to everyone." Then the fairy took the rabbit up in her arms and flew away with him into the woods. The woods were beautiful, and the ferns shone like frosted silver. In the clearing, the wild rabbits danced, and when they saw the fairy, they all stopped dancing and stood around in a ring to stare at her. "I've brought you a new playmate," the fairy told them. "You must be very kind to him, for he is going to live with you forever and ever." Then she kissed the little rabbit again and said, "Run and play, little rabbit." The little rabbit sat quite still for a moment. He did not know what. When the fairy had kissed him, she had changed him altogether. He might have sat there for a long time if just then something hadn't tickled his nose, and he lifted his leg to scratch it. And he found that he actually had hind legs. Instead of velveteen, he had brown fur, soft and shiny, and his ears twitched by themselves. He gave one leap, and the joy of using his hind legs was so great, he went springing about, jumping sideways and whirling around as the others did. He grew so excited that when he did stop to look for the fairy, she had gone. He was a real rabbit at last. Autumn passed and winter, and in the spring the boy went out to play in the woods. While he was playing, two rabbits crept out and peeped at him. One of them had strange markings under his fur, as though long ago he had been stuffed. But the boy never knew that it really was his own bunny who had come back to look at the child who had first helped him to be real. Well, that was just plumb sweet. He became a real bunny. So, I'm going to show you my little pet bunny. So you hang on right there and I'm going to go get it. Alright, y'all. This is Poppy. This is my little bunny Poppy. He's a good little bunny. Ain't he cute? He don't like to be held too much though. He grunts. And sometimes he'll even toot on me. But he's cute. Oh! He's trying to squirm away. I might have to let him go because I don't want him to get... Oh! There he goes. I'm going to let him go. Y'all ready? He's going to run like a jackrabbit. There he went. Oh, and he tooted. Woo! You stinky bunny. Stinky bunny. That was Poppy, everybody. Well, I'm glad y'all got to see my little Poppy, even though he really didn't want me to hold him today. So, I'm making sure I got everybody's little name in my little bucket. Now, I did put a couple names in because when I uploaded the video, something I did, I don't know what, but nobody could comment. So the two that told me they couldn't comment, I put them in there too. I just felt bad because I did the video wrong. So this is for the book from last week, The Pokey Little Puppy. And then I'll get your name and your address and I will send you the little book I read, and I've got my little name in here, and I'll put your little name in there. So I'm gonna move them around and 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 around. And here we go. Let's see. Rebecca Holyfield or Hollyfield. However that is right there. Holly Holyfield. Becca. I know she said her and her children just loved watching. So I'm gonna get your address and I'm gonna send you this little book. May put some other little goodies in there. And then everybody who's watching this video, I want you to make sure to go down to the bottom and just comment, and I will pull your name out next week when we read, and you'll get this little book of the Velveteen Rabbit. Alright? Well, I hope everybody's had a good week, and I hope you have a good week this week. And all you sugar boogers out there, I just love you to death. So I will see y'all next week. Alright. Bye.